Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. Today we're going to be making rope. I know about a month ago I posted a video of making some rope at my friend Jerry's house, and I had several folks that commented about they'd like to see some close-ups of the rope making process. And this past week was our county fair, and Jerry is pretty much always got the rope machine out there, and he's got it set up and lets people make rope. So I was able to get some close-up video of the rope making process, and we're gonna check it out. If you got any questions, put them in the comments below and I will do my best to answer those questions. I'm definitely not an expert, but I will do the best I can. So hopefully you enjoy it, and hope you stick around. Okay, I'm gonna do this in a voiceover so it's a little easier to hear me than what was on the camera. There's a lot going on here at the fair, and it just made the audio very hard to hear. So we're stringing up the rope currently. So this rope's made of sisal twine. See each of the individual strands of twine there. The machine that we're using to make this rope is a 3-lay. Get up here to the hand crank. So there's the crank, or the headstock. And if you notice, it's got 3 hooks on it. So each one of the hooks represents one lay in the rope. This rope's got 2 strands of twine per lay, so it'll be a total of a 6-strand 3-lay rope. Hudson there, he's gonna operate the hand crank for us. So if you look at that sisal twine, you can see all the little hairs sticking off the sides of it. That's important to pay attention to when you're making this type of or this rope out of sisal twine. There's Hudson cranking away. Kind of see each one of the lays is starting to twist together. And as we go down the rope, you'll see there's Jerry there. He's got 2 of the lays in his hand. And then next, Karen's got 2 of the lays in her hand. And they're helping to keep the lays of the rope separated so that those little hairs on the sisal twine don't grab from one lay to the next and try to knot the rope up ahead of the rope wrench. The rope wrench is there in Eli's hand. It's a little triangle piece that each one of the lays runs through. And Danny's counterweighting it and keeping tension on it as we twist it up. The hook that the 3 lays are attached to, that Danny's holding on to, that's on a ball bearing, and that's what allows the rope to, or the 3 lays to twist together. And Eli there, he's just working each one of the lays, making sure it twists even through the rope wrench, and that kind of helps get the 3 lays started twisting together also. Kind of speeds the process up. You can really see the hair on the sisal twine. See here in a second, we'll actually have it catch. So you can see it up there by Karen's arm. You can see where the 2 lays just came together, head of the rope wrench, and she pops it apart there. That's why we have the additional people making the sisal twine rope. That's why we have them holding the lays apart. So the rope wrench and the consistency of the crank up at the headstock, that's kind of what sets the rate of twist on the rope and the consistency in the rope. So see, Eli kind of tries to maintain that distance between the rope wrench and where the 3 lays are twisting together. Now the farther up the rope you go, the twist will start pulling it. As Hudson's cranking, it'll start pulling it, and it kind of pushes the rope wrench forward. And that's where you'll notice Eli's kind of moves a little bit faster. And that's just the tension on the lays pushing the rope wrench forward. And they'll just slide the rope wrench up on the headstock. And this rope is going to get used for a project, so they're not going to knot it up or anything right now. They'll tape it off, and then it'll get back braided later to keep it in one piece and prevent it from unraveling. And Jerry's getting the measuring wheel out. They'll roll that down the rope to make sure the length is correct for the use, the intended use of this rope. If I remember right, we wound up making 6 of these. I think they were 35 foot long, if I remember right. Alright, so now you can see them stringing them up start to finish. So like I said, this will be a 6-strand 3-lay rope. So Eli will just run that twine, start on the bottom far hook, down to the tail hook, come back to the top hook on the headstock, down to the tail hook, then back up to the near lower hook, and then we'll finish up on the same hook that we started on. Looks like Megan got elected to crank. Now when we make these ropes, we typically just do a 6-strand 3-lay. You could put as many strands on there as you wanted. All that's going to do is basically make your rope diameter larger and increase the working load, obviously. And we just tie it onto that hook with a simple overhand knot. That holds it in place, but also makes it easy to slide off once the rope's twisted together. So you see Eli, he'll go down here and you see him, he'll pull all the strands off of the tail hook. And what he's doing is evening up each of the strands and pulling the slack out of it. And then Danny rehooks the tail hook. And then the process is basically the same. They'll crank it. Eli will work the end to make sure the twist stays even going through the rope wrench. So these 6 ropes are going to get used on a antique haystacking machine that belongs to the local antique tractor club. They're trying to get this haystacking machine put back into operation, so when they, during fair week, they can show the operation of the state haystacking machine. They have some other old equipment that they have out there and they run during fair week besides the tractors. There's a sawmill and a thrashing machine and a couple other items. It's pretty interesting to watch. So normally during fair week, the ropes that are being made down here, anybody can come in and make one. They're done for a Goodwill donation. Goes back to the Antique Tractor Club. And what we make is a traditional lariat or lasso. When we make the lariats, we use a poly twine, so it's smooth, doesn't have all that hair over it. And the nice part with using that to make the lariats is you can have the person cranking up at the headstock, one person running the rope wrench, and you'll see here that weird sawhorse setup with the weights on it there. You'll notice it's got a hook attached on it. If you looked real close, Eli's blocking it, but that hook is the tail hook we typically will use. That way it's just basically the person running the crank and a person running the rope wrench. Like I said, this one will run up, they'll tape it off at the end, and then when they get ready to use it on the machine, they'll back braid it to keep it, the loose end, keep it from untwisting. You can see the poly twine, that blue twine down there at the base of the headstock. That's what we typically make the rope with. I thought I'd show one of the finished ropes that we typically make during fair week. Like I said, it's a traditional lariat, so you can see the loop in it. So this is what would traditionally be used for roping. And I've got a shorter piece here. I'll leave that one out of the road. I got a shorter one here. And you can see on the end here, it uses what they refer to as a Honda knot. And that, I asked the question why we always use a Honda knot in the end of these, and the answer I received is that's what was always in a traditional lariat. So, and a Honda knot's pretty easy to tie, so try and show it to you right quick. And then that goes back through. And then a bite like that, and then you'll pull your rope back through. And there you have a lariat. So we always tie the Honda knot in on the loose end. That's how we finish them at the fair. And since we use that poly twine, you can kind of see here that we melt the ends of it to keep it from fraying apart. Well, that's all I've got for today. I hope you all found that interesting. I know it's a process that not a lot of people have seen done before, so hopefully you got some entertainment out of it at least, and hopefully the closer or close-up shots of the rope making process answered some questions for the folks that were asking about it. And like I said at the beginning, if you've got questions about it, please ask. I'll do my best to answer them. This is definitely not something I'm an expert at, and if I can't answer, I'll try and get with Jerry and see if he can't answer questions for me and respond that way. But I appreciate you sticking around and watching, and hopefully you all have a good week, and I'll see you soon.